Hey buddy, I wanted to let you guys know that we're going to attempt to do this the right way this time. Last time I got the wrong spark plugs. So this is my Vtwin. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spark plugs. It's pretty standard in all your Vtwin cruiser metric bikes. So today you're going to need a few tools. One, you're going to need a socket wrench or socket wrench socket, okay? This is the one that's provided in your tool pouch, okay? And the inside, it holds the socket when you pull it out. And on the other end, you can add a socket to take it out of the socket wrench socket, all right? This is optional, but you can use the same socket that goes on the other end, which you can then use a regular socket wrench. I find it's more easier to do it that way. I also recommend you get an extension that will extend your socket wrench head, all right? And make sure it's the right drive. So this one fits on the other end, all right? So you're gonna connect that one with that one. That extends it. You're going to connect your socket into the socket wrench socket, all right, which looks about that long, okay? So your spark plugs have a rubber boot that is inside of there. You're going to pull out, not hard, but just enough, and you're going to see a rubber cover, which they call the spark plug boot, okay? Put that aside, you're not gonna need that right now. What you want is you want what's inside there. So this is gonna go inside there. The part with the rubber washer inside there goes into the hole where your spark plug is located, all right? This is important now. Do not strip your spark plug. You cannot get it out with your fingers, and it will be very difficult to get it out with a tool. So do it right the first time. If you feel like you're stripping it, stop, all right? You're gonna have to take it to a shop to get it pulled out. So if you know what you're doing, this is a good step to do. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna go straight in until you cannot wiggle it with play anymore to the left or the right. And you know that it is ready to come out, all right? So make sure that your socket is oriented for the removal of the nut or whatever you're removing, and just go ahead and take it out, all right? At some point, you may actually be able to just rotate the head of the socket wrench and the tool to pull it out by hand, okay? All right, so I didn't pull it out far enough because the socket is not in the head. So I'm gonna have to keep unscrewing for now. All right, and as you can tell, the socket stays in the socket wrench, all right? That's why it's a special tool. Not special that you have to order it from a special, you know, authorized store, but that's the difference between a regular socket and a spark plug socket. It stays in there, so it can't come out without enough effort and enough force, all right? Look at that. That's nasty. That's not what a spark plug should look like, all right? Now, this is the replacement socket, or replacement spark plug, all right? This is by NGK, okay? Now, it's important to note both ends. This end here is threaded. This end here is threaded. I did buy a set of spark plugs with a rounded nipple on the top of it, all right? So obviously it's not gonna fit because it's a different type of spark plug. This is what a fresh one looks like. You guys tell the difference? Yuck. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the spark plug here. You're going to insert this side. And actually, let me pause for a second, all right? You need to gap a spark plug so it's within the right gap specification, okay? Now, what they're talking about is between the inner nipple and this little part of metal that's sticking out. From the tip of the nipple here to the bottom of this metal overhang here, okay? That's supposed to be a specific distance from each other, okay? And you look at your service manual, and it's in there, all right? It'll tell you, and it's got to be within plus or minus, I guess, 1 or 2 readings from the positive or the negative side of it, okay? You want to be more closed because the more you use the spark plugs, the bigger and the more open your gap is going to be. So if you do it to its maximum allowable reading, the more you do it, the shorter the length you have until you have to replace the spark plugs due to the gap, okay? The gap is important because that's the distance that the spark needs to have for the combustion to be at its best efficiency, okay? So hold on right there. I'm going to show you the tool to use. All right, this right here is a spark plug gap tool, okay? You guys see the numbers all the way around? And on the other side, there's also some numbers as well, okay? So on the edge, can you guys see how it's not really flat all the way at the edge? That's the distance the gap is measured, okay? So my spark plug, my manufacturer is 0.036. Okay, so I look on here, and this is mentioned in inches. So it's 0.020, 0.030, 0.040. So I want in between 0.30 and 0.40, okay? And I don't want to go above 0.36 because that's where it's the specification is, okay? 0.35 is okay, but I wouldn't go any lower than 0.34, 0.33, because that's too small of a gap, okay? And you also don't want 0.38, 0.37, like, oh, but it's just 1 point, okay? But the spark is part of your combustion process to get your engine running, okay? And if it's not optimum, then your engine's not going to run properly. So you want to have this almost down to a science or down to a T, okay? So you're going to enter the edge of your spark plug gap tool in between the nipple and the overhang, and it's going to tell you where it is. Now, luckily, this is exactly at 0.36 or 0.36, okay? So that is the correct gap. So I can go ahead and install this. Same procedure. You stick the overhand and nipple end into the spark plug socket and just push it in just a little bit, not too much, and you'll see the threaded end, and that goes on the, So you want to take the threaded end with the white covering and put that into your tool, all right? Because the overhang and the nipple is going to go inside the bike. So it's going to go in there like that. You don't want the other way around. So I'm going to use my socket wrench and install the socket. Turn your socket the other way. Now with sockets, with spark plugs, you don't want to over tighten them, all right? So turn it just until it's hand tightened, and then do 1.5 turns past that. All right. Now, pull your tool back out. It should not come out. Now you take your rubber boot with the hole in the middle. Make sure it's in the proper orientation. Stick the rubber boot in there. And make sure you hear it click. Okay? Now it's in there. That's properly installed. Alright? Now that's the front of the Vtwin engine, alright? So now you're going to have to do the back side. And the same procedure is that as well. I don't really need to do that because it's the same procedure for all 4 sides. So you guys now know how to change spark plug on a Vtwin engine. You may have to move some sides around to get it to run or to get it to be easier to do, but you guys now know how to do it, all right? I will end up showing you guys some more tips and tricks on how to keep your bike maintained. Again, this is Little C. I will see you guys later. Bye.